Welcome to the Robotics Through Science Fiction podcast. I'm Robin Murphy, and in this podcast we'll discuss the movie Real Steel, which could be a good family movie to watch for Father's Day. It's also a great introduction to teleoperation and robotics. So, did you miss the movie Real Steel when it came out in 2011? Well, if you did, you're not to blame. It certainly looked a bit lame, sort of a rock'em sock'em robots with a mashup of the estranged father-son and Rocky underdog tropes. Yeah, it had Hugh, Jackman, and Evangeline Lilly, but it just seems so formulaic. Except it's actually pretty good, and it does get extra points as a good illustration of teleoperation, which is an important concept in robotics. The movie is based on a 1956 short story, Steel, by Richard Matheson. Yep, the I Am Legend Richard Matheson. And it was directed by Sean Levy, the director for the Night at the Museum series and some of the really good episodes of Stranger Things. And while the screenplay was a bit muddled, where was Carrie Fisher when you needed her to be a script doctor, the acting and the special effects carry it past the goal line. So the basic plot in terms of robotics is that there's a huge worldwide wrestling federation type of fighting event, only with tricked out robots, not people. The robots are teleoperated, which give the plot its main robot theme. The robot reflects or amplifies the personality and cognitive style of the operator. If you're a feisty boy, your robot embodies that feistiness in the fighting ring. And as we all know from Rocky, all you need is heart and persistence and hard work to get some respect. So, watching it may make you wish for Scalzi's imagined teleoperated team sport of Hellcat and his book Head On, but Real Steel robots are a good stopgap. Yeah, the plot of Real Steel is not particularly original, and on the other hand, teleoperating robots isn't original either, but that's a good thing. Teleoperation's been around since the dawn of robotics, since World War II for nuclear handling. Teleoperation means that someone is operating the robot remotely, teleo. Historically, roboticists have viewed teleoperation as a degenerate case of autonomy. You couldn't make the robot autonomous, so you had to settle for it being teleoperated by a human. And that's certainly true for some applications, but there are applications when you really don't want autonomy. Let's think about telehealth for COVID. You're not trying to automate all the things a doctor or nurse does, is you're enabling the doctor or nurse to work with infected patients from that nice clean room next door. Or telepresence. You're using the robot to talk to Granny who's in the nursing home. And for work, you can use a robot to roll through the factory floor, or if you're a real estate agent, let the client see the house. For my field of search and rescue, responders want to see and act in distal environments in real time. They don't want to press a button, hope the robot comes back in 4 to 6 hours, and that it'll say, oh, it found a person bleeding out, but they found them 4 hours ago, but they had 2 hours to live at the time the robot found them. No, that's not what we're looking for. We need real time. So, roboticists now grudgingly acknowledge that teleoperation might be okay. What many roboticists miss is that teleoperation is hard. And as you watch the movie, notice that each robot team uses a different user interface. Clearly, a good user interface makes it easier for the operator to control the robot. It also helps, or in some cases thwarts, the operator in seeing the bigger picture. What is the condition of the robot? What are the blind spots? What's going on over there? All of that. That's called situational awareness in the cognitive literature. And it's not trivial to get that interface for situational awareness right. And it's really not an interface at all. It's interaction. In the robot, you see the teams try to delegate more and more of the routine moves to the robot as a macro, as an automated script to speed up execution. But no matter how good the interface is, there's always that delay caused by the operator comprehending the situation, reacting, and sending out control signals via the user interface, and the robot actually executing those demands. So you'd like to eliminate that delay. If you're trying to teleoperate a robot in space, that communication lag on top of it all makes it even worse. And so Tom Sheridan at MIT was a pioneer in that. Worse, teleoperation is tiring. The mental effort of working through a computer is like working with a low-grade fever. You might not notice that you're 100%, but you find that even regular activities exhaust you. So you want an interface, an interaction to be more than just a dashboard. And we call that different, better way of getting things done together interaction. You've probably read about Zoom fatigue, that teleconferencing is more tiring than regular work because of the extra cognitive work and working through a computer interface. Well, it is way worse when you're controlling robots. My colleagues and I have looked at this for nearly 2 decades because robots for disasters are teleoperated. And the rubric we've come up with is that 20 minutes of teleoperating a robot at a disaster is the fatigue equivalent of 2 hours of hard mental work. And my colleagues, Dr. Ranjan Almeida and Camille Perez, found that pilots flying small unmanned aerial systems at disasters after just 1 day showed the cognitive impairment of 0.05% blood alcohol concentration. And these are expert pilots who fly disasters, so it is dangerously tiring to teleoperate robots. So the point is, you want to see and work through the robot, but you want the robot to be smart enough that you can delegate as much as you can to the robot in order to speed up execution and reduce your fatigue. Well, that's a challenge, right? Because at what point does the robot move from being teleoperated, which seems unintelligent, to being intelligent? Plus, being intelligent in an assistant way is very different in terms of programming from being intelligent in a Jarvis Iron Man artificial general intelligence way. We don't have a precise line that once a robot crosses that line, it's no longer just teleoperated, but we do have a name for it. We call this shared autonomy. Shared autonomy may not be as hard as creating an artificial general intelligence like Commander Data and Picard or Ava and Ex Machina, but it's pretty darn hard. You have to enable the person and the robot to work seamlessly together. And be honest, most of us haven't figured out how to make people and people work seamlessly together. Well, the good news is you can read more about teleoperation in Chapter 5 of my textbook, Introduction to AI Robotics, or Chapter 1 in Robotics Through Science Fiction. And our Robotics Through Science Fiction topics page has a whole page on teleoperation with links to other movies, books, and stories. Sanjeev and Robot Walla is one of my favorite short stories on science fiction ever. And in the meantime, watch Real Steel. It'd be great to watch on Father's Day because if you're a dad, you might not be as good looking as Hugh Jackman's character, but you're definitely a better father. And if you're a boy, you'll love the fight scenes. And if you're the rest of the family, you're going to be charmed. Perhaps reluctantly, but you'll be charmed nonetheless. And you can, of course, count it as an educational experience on teleoperation. In the meantime, don't forget to sign up for Robotics Through Science Fiction, our newsletter, and our YouTube channel so you won't miss